Hello, I'm Barry.
I'm Chris. Today, we're going to be talking about the tears of the left. It's been 3 weeks now since President-elect Trump has won soundedly in the elections in the States. And
we're still living. We're still around. We're not dead. Holy crap.
That's not the end of the world yet.
He hasn't fucking rounded up the Mexicans and thrown them back to Mexico yet.
But what we are going to be talking about is the reaction from, well, generally the media, because the media's been really left-leaning a lot lately, and they've been pretty proud about saying, hey, we support Hillary.
They've been pretty biased when they're supposed to be unbiased. Yeah. Whenever you watch like a sports broadcast or a news broadcast, they're supposed to be very neutral, and this has been everything but that.
Yes, definitely everything but that. Van Jones on CNN, he...
Was it the guy who said there was a white lad?
Yes.
If you haven't seen the video,
go check it out. See what he says. He says it's a white lash.
We'll try to link it in the description below so you can check it out. He goes off about pretty much saying that this is exactly a white lash. It's white America
protesting against a black president,
LGBTQ and immigrants and all that stuff. And
okay, I get it. You know, they have to try to figure out why Trump managed to win, but you know, he goes on and he's talking about, it's like, oh, my Muslim friends are phoning me and they're saying, oh, should I leave the country? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, he goes off about saying, what should I tell my kids?
Yeah,
and stuff like that when they wake up. When I put them to bed, what should I tell my kids? And it's like, well, why don't
they don't want to? They fear the breakfast, and it's like, what the hell are you telling your children?
Yeah, like what kind of world are you putting out there for your children? Maybe you should just tell them the truth. Maybe you should just be honest with them. You know what I mean? Like last week, I said that Donald Trump needs to come out and say to these people committing the hate crimes to stop, and he did that. I didn't see the clip. I just heard that he did it, so I'm not
100% positive.
But
yeah.
From what I gather, he did say, "Hey, stop, you idiots!" In not such a
He in presidential tones.
I paraphrased it. I think the biggest thing is, you know, and I said it last week when we did our wrap up of the presidential election, is that we have to give Trump a chance. We can't just sit there and think that he's Hitler, he's a Nazi, and he's the second coming of
and
evil.
That's what the left is doing. They're painting him as a homophobe, a bigot, a racist. And he's gonna like become Hitler, and this is how Hitler started. It's like
these people who
study your history.
These people,
Hitler didn't. He had similarities to how Hitler.
So many people in the world, though. So many people in the world have similarities to Hitler, and they're not out there because they're just regular people. Like these people who are committing these and running up to you and saying "go back home" if you have a different color skin are assholes. They're not regular people. Every person who supports Trump's not a racist, a bigot, a homophobe. You know, when he made those comments of grabbing that woman by the pussy, like I think it was. Is it a bad thing to say? Of course it is. But you know how many times that gets said in a locker room, in a men's locker room, at the gym, or at a sporting event? You go to a beer league hockey game and fucking
you get a bunch of people just drinking
at a
bar, and they'll watch a woman go by. It's like, yeah, I'd slip my dick inside of her.
I'd hit that. That's the same. Like it's the same thing. Like if you look across the table at dinner at your husband and think that he hasn't said something like that in his life, then you're burying your head in the sand, and you think, honestly, like I know that I've said derogatory things to women.
You know I have, and I actually try to avoid doing it.
Because you're young, and when you're younger, and especially when you're in a position of power, like I guarantee you that people, not everybody, let's clarify that, not everybody, but a lot of people in positions of power use their power to take advantage of people, whether it be the opposite sex or...
For example, a great example of this is Bill Clinton. In office, he took advantage of the intern, Monica Lewinsky. You know, that's a position of power, and he took advantage of her. Now, unfortunately, you're going to hear a lot of other examples, and some of them are really bad, and they shouldn't happen.
I guarantee you lots of professional athletes have used their stardom, their
Sleep with
their
groupies.
names, to sleep with rock stars.
Do it all the
Do
time.
it all the time. Like, we're sitting here and we're chastising this one person. Does Trump have views and policies that I don't agree with? Of course. But the reason that he won is because people were sick of the establishment and the elite and the entitled people who think that Hillary thought that she was going to win. All the Democrats thought that she was going to win in a landslide.
Hillary, at one point in time, in an interview, said, "This is like, why am I not 50 points ahead, you may ask?" And it's like, well, what kind of arrogance is that? It's like, that is the standard of arrogance. Is like, why am I not? And it's like, probably because you're not listening.
We live in Alberta. We've said it many times. We have a government who was voted in as a protest, kind of in the same lines as what happened in the U.S. right now. People were here in Alberta were sick of. We had the PC government in Alberta for 40 years. 40 years, and people just got sick of it because they were just they got complacent.
Oh, did they ever?
They got way complacent. What happens with complacency?
Entitled.
Yes, they became entitled, complacent, and what happens when you do that? People get mad at people. So we voted in a stupid government, but whatever.
We have to live with it for 2 more years.
That's right, and now the U.S. has to live with Trump for 4.
Yeah, so it's horrible to have the left say this. Like the reporter on CNN, he said this, and it was like, okay, fine. He's trying to come up with a reason, an excuse for why they did it. The Young Turks, they are a left-sided opinion people on YouTube. You can look them up. And the guy, watching them watch the election was like watching a funeral. Thank you for that one, by the way. And
it was every channel you turned it to was like even the Canadian feed, Peter Mansbridge, and I was watching it. And I'm like, seriously, who died?
Yeah,
I was thinking, who died? Like who died? I have no idea. I'm totally 100% against big government. I think government should just fuck right off and be very small, but I'm not gonna sit here and be like. So I think the same way about Trump that I think about Clinton, about Obama. I think they're all just a bunch of floofs who should just fuck off. So
yeah. So two other the Turks, they went on. It was like watching a funeral, and then once they realized everything was going on, they're like, "Oh, this is going to be. We're going to fight. We're going to fight back. We're going to fight against this. This is going to be your rebel headquarters." And it's like rebel headquarters. Well, what are you talking about? Like a civil war here? Like this is how half the people felt when Obama won.
A lot of people did. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like when Obama won. A lot of people don't like when any president's elected. Obviously, there's going to be
half the population voted for the other guys.
It's like a third of the population.
Well, okay,
to be honest,
okay, half the people that voted.
I think this is where the problem is that the whole system that is in place for democracy is completely broken. Where 1/3 of a population can vote in somebody. And not even the most popular candidate wins.
For the most part, in the States, it does.
No, for the most part, but this time it wasn't. There's been a couple aspects.
The last time was actually...
It's within George 0.5%.
Yeah.
It's so small that
it's a very small margin, but...
Popular vote.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Moshina Rajesh of The Guardian in England tweeted, "It's about time for a presidential assassination." There was some people talking to some of the protesters because there's been about a week's worth of protests since President.
There's been some talk of what happens if he gets taken out, and it's like, what?
Yeah, there's been talk about.
Imagine if people would have said that when Obama got elected. People would have been like, "That person's racist."
Yeah.
That would have been the first thing that they would have went to, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, and it's weird, and it's so funny. Jon Stewart, like he was the old host of the Daily Show. He actually did a spoof just before the presidential election. He did an interview after the election, and one of the things he said was, "I don't have to like the election results. However, to paint all those people that voted for Trump as racist is ignorant."
It's very ignorant, and
you know, he ran on a platform, Clinton ran on a platform, and guess what? Trump's platform won because more people...
He ran on a platform that connected with more of the regular people.
Yes.
More of the redneck type people,
And this is where that white lash comes from. You know, the working, blue-collar people, the working class. These are the people that are out of jobs, not the elites.
Yeah.
The elites have cushy jobs. They have
money in the bank account.
Yeah,
and he spoke to the people who don't have money in the bank account, whereas Hillary spoke to the people who have money in their bank account. Now we're gonna see what happens. Like who knows what he could just flub it and be like, haha, I'm in the office. I'm gonna do things that benefit me and my friends and.
Well, there are checks and balances in that.
Of course, he's not going to be able to, like I said...
He's not going to be able to steamroller. He still has to work with the House and Senate, and they're not exactly... They're happy that they have a Republican president, but they're not necessarily happy that it was him as president. So they're still going to not work with him as well as if it was somebody else. So they still have to work with him. And it's... Watching the coverage of this whole thing from the right side,
it was a sham. It was disgraceful. It was very like you look at news. I look at news and I go, "You guys are idiots. Like, who are you now? Like, you've played your hand. You've shown your cards. Now, all your news is going to be coming from a certain place now."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how am I supposed to take anything? How are anybody supposed to take them seriously?
Yeah, the same thing happened here in Canada. The former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, he had a very hate relationship with the media. He was very cold towards them, but he was cold towards them simply because he knew that they didn't like him. They worked against him. It was the same reaction in 2011 during the election results. It was conservative win. It looked like you were watching a funeral. All on CTV, CBC, and Global. They were all hoping for a Liberal. Now, when the Liberals won in 2015, last year, it was a celebration. It was a celebration by CBC. And they love our Prime Minister. They don't ask him hard questions. They take photos ops with him. It's like, oh, look at him. He photobombed a picture. Here he is. There was an interview. He was talking about quantum computers, and he went to go visit a research facility, and then he comes out and he goes, "Well, somebody want to ask me about quantum computers?" And he goes, "You there." So the guy asks him about what's going on in Syria, and he goes, "Oh, I'll tell you about quantum computers." Then he spits on a spiel about quantum computers, which his answer got on to the news, but the question that preceded it did not. In New York right now, this is where Trump is hiding, trying to figure out his White House staff.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out his transition team.
Yeah. I guess what they do in the media is they put a lid on it. So the press secretary will come out and go, "There's a lid," and it basically tells the reporter that everything's done for the day. You can go home, because the reporters are supposed to be around the president pretty much 24 hours a day so they can capture moments. Well, the press secretary came out and said, "There's a lid," and Trump snuck out the side door as much as a president can, and went to go have dinner with his family. And the only reason why the press found out about it was because of a tweet. Somebody go, "Hey, the president's here at this restaurant." And this is the type of relationship Trump is going to have with the media because of how they treated him, and they're going to have to get used to it.
I'd be the same way if the media treated me the same way. I would just, I'm over it. Let's, being a Canadian, it's like, let's
4
just
years.
move on. Let's just,
You
know,
have to deal with him for 4 years.
and being in my position of how I feel about government, that's how I feel every year. Every time there's an election, I sit there and I go, you guys are just a bunch of lemmings who jump off this cliff every 4 years thinking it's going to change, and it never does. Nothing ever changes.
It is very true.
Nothing ever changes. Every year, it's a politician, and it's like, oh, a politician, okay. They're gonna do. They're gonna change. Oh, no, they didn't change shit. I gotta pay more money in taxes. I gotta pay more money. It's cost me more money for my groceries, my gas. Oh, we're in an economic downturn. What? We're in economic. Well, this is just a reason to price gouge to do this, and it's like, okay. Every 4 years, every year, every day I wake up, I go,
told you so.
I can't. Yeah, like I've been sitting here. You know, he knows. He's known me the longest because we're brothers.
Yep.
And he knows that I'm not just talking this way because we're doing this show. I talk this way
all
at
the time.
Christmas dinners, at Thanksgiving dinners, and I've been doing it since I knew about politics. And it's just, I sit here and I laugh and I go, and I sit back and all these elections I go, especially recently because a lot of people now are starting to speak like I've been speaking for years. You see more of it.
This is part of the reason why Trump got elected.
Yeah.
So just like a porn star in her first anal scene, you're gonna just have to grin and bear it and put up with it for 4 years.
That's right.
So, and if you want to do something different, get out there and do something different. Become a part of the teams that are out there doing the
Make
work.
your own team.
It works better in Canada than it does
Make
in
your
the
own
States.
fucking team.
But yes,
That's what I'm gonna do one day. I'm just gonna make my own team, and I'm gonna be like, fuck it. I'm sick of the establishment. I'm sick of it all, and I'm gonna be the Canadian Donald Trump.
there we go.
Except I'm not gonna wrangle up immigrants and throw them out because I don't think that way. But I will be one day. Watch for it.
There you go. You heard it first.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share.
And tune in tomorrow.
That's right.
Thank you.
But tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes.